What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave, and we are back with another video. Please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, support in any way that you can. Appreciate all the support you guys been giving me over the years. I want to talk about Devin Haney and his titles, and I also want to talk about Tank Davis. Okay, I figure, I might as well talk about both since this all connects, being that these titles involve the lightweight division. So Devin Haney, he's going to be fighting Regis Prograis next weekend, and I'm going to have the video for that right away, the breakdown videos, and I will be here covering the fight live. But Devin Haney is going to move up to 140. He's fighting Regis Prograis for his WBC title up there at 140. All right, and this past week, Devin Haney vacated all of the titles, okay? Well, the remaining titles that he had at 135. Okay, we all know that he was undisputed, and Shakur Stevenson just fought and won for the WBC title when he fought Edwin De Los Santos. So Shakur is already a champion there. Haney was champion at recess, but Shakur is now the champion, the WBC champion at 135. Now for the remaining belts. So Lomachenko and George Kambosos are going to be fighting in April, I believe. At February, April. I don't want to get the dates confused, but sometime early next year, they'll be facing off each other. Lomachenko is going to go out to Australia, and these guys are supposed to be fighting for the IBF title. Now, originally, I saw an IBF title. Recently, I've been seeing the WBO title, and I wouldn't be surprised if both titles are on the line. Maybe some similar to the situation with Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith. When they fought, it was a unification match. And I believe like the WBC that was vacated, or I'm sorry, that was stripped from David Benavidez was on the line, plus the other title, whatever title that Callum Smith had at the time. So that instantly became a unification match. So both of these titles are vacated, and being that George Kambosos and Lomachenko are basically the number 1 and 2 ring guys with the IBF, that title is going to be on the line, and I believe Loma is the number 1 for the WBO title. So that is probably going to be a unification. I'm just guessing that it's going to be a unification fight when they do fight. And that'll be good for, both of them, I guess, because, they both recent title holders. They both recently was unified. And they'll both get another opportunity to fight for a belt. Hopefully along the way, at some point, the winner of that fight will fight Shakur Stevenson, right? And then we have the WBA, Tank Davis. And look, everybody's talking about this, but WBA, you know how Tank does. He likes to fight for the junior title, the world title. I don't think he's held the super WBA title at 135. If he did at one point, it might have been in a time when he got stripped, but I know at 130 he had a full-fledged title at 130. I think at 135 he might have had one, but he's been the world, not the super world, but the junior WBA title. I just want to stick to junior because it's not the full-fledged title. So I'm going to just say junior. He's had the junior title with the WBA since he's been at 135. And, I think he fought for the junior WBA title when he went to 140 to fight Mario Barrios, right? So look, this is the thing, and I don't know why people are tripping over this, because Tank is going to do what Tank wants to do, okay? Recently, there was a report that came out, or at least not a report, but I at least seen Michael Benson tweet saying that he's most likely going to be elevated to full champion, being that he's the world WBA champ. And Tank Davis basically replied to him on Twitter, is basically saying he don't want that shit. And I guess he doesn't want the belt. And I'm not surprised by it. Why? Because Tank does what he wants to do. He doesn't care about belts. He doesn't care about legacy when it comes to championships. You know what I mean? If he did, He would have fought Lomachenko. He would have fought Kambosos. He would have fought with Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez. All these other guys that recently had the titles at 135, he would have went straight at them. But he didn't fight any of those guys. Tank does what he wants to do. Tank is fully about the bag. You know, he tries to keep those sanctioning fees low, and he likes the freedom to fight whoever he wants to do, like whoever he wants to fight. There will be no mandatories. There will be no obligations as long as he's just keeping that one title. And I believe the only reason why he's keeping that one title with the WBA is simply because he probably have lower sanctioning fee costs. It's probably because there's no mandatory obligations, and he has the freedom to do what he wants. And he's keeping it because he can still market himself as being a champion with each and every fight, you know? So you have a little bit of marketing there to boost up any fight he's involved in, because a lot of people don't know the stipulations and the junior titles and the world and the super and the interim. A lot of people don't know anything about that. They just hear the WBA title is going to be on the line. People don't know what is really going on when it comes to these titles. So Tank is going to continue to have the freedom that he wants. He doesn't want to be told who to face next. He fights who he wants to fight. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a fan of that. Why? I'm not a fan because I would have loved to see him fight Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez or Shakur Stevenson or Vasyl Lomachenko. I would have loved to see all of those fights. I still want to see all of those fights. But I already said this to you guys earlier this year when it comes to him, when it comes to Ryan Garcia. There are certain fighters that are all strictly about the bag, the fame, the pay-per-views. All the legacy stuff is a big thing. I mean, all the fighters want to get paid. But a lot of the fighters want the legacy. They're chasing undisputed or undisputed in multi-divisions, you know. They're all going to get paid. But some people care more about just getting paid more than the bag. The legacy stuff. And Tank is one of those fighters. So pretty much he's been making that clear for the last few years. As much as I still going to talk about him facing some of these other guys, you got to understand that when it comes to Tank, he's going to make it work for him. If you're fighting at 135 and he chooses to fight you, he's going to do that. But most of the time, he's going to pull a guy down from 140 or he's going to pull a guy up from 130. Tank is going to do what he wants to do. So I get it. I'm a big Tank supporter. All right. I love watching him fight. You know, I like his skills. I like his talent. I like his knockouts. But at the end of the day, I'm not delusional. All right? Tank has not proven that he's the best. He looks like he could be one of the best, but he has not proven that he is the best because of the caliber of fighters he's facing. He's cherry picking. He fights with who he wants to fight when he wants to fight them. You know, and the stipulations and everything is going to be always in his favor. Do anything to keep that O on your record because it helps with the marketing. Undefeated. And keeping the title at hand. But when it comes to the main titles, the real titles, you're going to leave that for Loma. You're going to leave that for Tio. You're going to leave that for Haney. You're going to leave it for all of these other fighters. He's not worried about them. So I don't know why people are still surprised by that. I think it sucks, but, you know, he's going to do what he wants to do. There's no reason for me to keep crying about it every time I make a video about him. Made countless videos talking about this. Now, when it comes to the WBA, Isaac Cruz is actually the number one ranked guy. And we know that they've been saving Isaac for a rematch with Tank. Why? Because he's the only guy that's gone the distance with him. He gave Tank some trouble. I know Tank hurt his hand, but it was a competitive fight. You had people saying that they thought Cruz won the fight. And what have Cruz done since then? Nothing. Fight cherry picks after cherry pick. He's getting called out by all of these fighters. He's not going after titles. He is going to keep that decision loss on his resume like it's a win. In his eyes, it was a win. So With all that being said, most likely they're going to have their rematch. And maybe that title will be on the line. But when you got everybody on the internet, and that's the thing about this whole thing with these boxers, man, they watch us. They watch us all day. They see our tweets. You know what they saying this week? You know what everybody's talking about these weeks, these past weeks or months? Email champions. Constantly being brought up. They're talking about Boots Ennis. They're talking about fighters that was emailed their title. They didn't win it. Like Devin Haney in the past. That's what people keep bringing up. So you think Tank is going to take Devin Haney's hand-me-downs when he's one of his rivals? Absolutely not. Because if Tank gets elevated to full title, they're going to say, oh, you didn't win. You didn't fight nobody to get that belt. Devin Haney is going to be the first one on Twitter talking about, look, this guy's picking up my trash that I left at 135. You think Tank is going to take that belt knowing who it's coming from? Absolutely not. So, of course, he doesn't want it. Maybe he fights for it. Maybe he does. Maybe not. He's going to have a dance partner soon, I'm sure, whenever they announce whatever PBC deal that they're going to do, you know, if it's going to be with Amazon. You know, we'll talk more about that soon. But yeah, that's what's going on with the titles. You know, the WBO and the IBF. Most likely, you know, it's going to be a Loma Camboso's thing. Shakur Stevenson's already the WBC champ. And the WBA junior title is held by Tank. And I don't know what's going to happen if, you know, Tank doesn't get elevated for it. Or if he doesn't fight for it next. I don't know. But I know one thing, Tank is not going to be running around here letting people call him an email champ. Absolutely not. It's not going to happen. All right. And as far as Haney, yeah, I'm glad he vacated the title. Free up those straps. I'm tired of fighters holding belts hostage. You know, if you decide to come back to 135 to take one of those fights, then do it. You don't need the straps. You know, Tank doesn't care for them. He didn't care for them when you were undisputed. He ain't going to care for them now. You know, and then we all know that that's the fight that Haney would probably the only fight that Haney is willing to come back down for, if he is even willing to come back down at this point. But you know what? This is the thing, man. And this is not just the fans, but this is for the boxers. You know, and I'm going to come off. I'm not coming off as a Tank hater, because I'm not. But what I will say is, don't come down. You know, if you get a phone call for a Tank fight, don't come back down. Turn it down. There's plenty of options at 140. All the guys that were there, all the guys that's just moved up there. There's plenty of options. T.O. is there. Devin is here. You know, there's plenty of guys. You got Matias. You know, you got Prograde. Well, he's about to fight Devin. You got plenty of options up there. You got Ryan up there. You know what I mean? You got guys with names up there. You don't really need to come down and drain yourself. Because I don't want to see another Ryan Garcia situation where he's talking about, you know, injuries and being drained and stuff like that. You guys got options outside of Tank. Let Tank be in his own world doing what he wants to do. I know people want the money and opportunity, but are you willing to drain yourself to do it? I think the guys that's willing to go up and do it from 130, that's a little bit more understandable. But the guys that's draining himself to come back down and fighting them, it's ridiculous. You know, you take in all these rehydration clauses and catch weights. Nah, man. Ryan at 136, I said he gave up his advantage right there. I mean, I didn't think he was going to win anyway, but you definitely was going to beat this guy coming down to 136 when your last two fights was at 140. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at the situation. I'm glad Haney vacated the title. There's a lot of work to be done at 140. And if he's pushing to eventually get undisputed in the second division, he got a lot of work to do, especially next Saturday, to start with next Saturday, you know. So that's my thoughts on it, man. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this whole situation with Tank and Haney and the titles at 135. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.